What is that noise? There's some sort of strange noise out here. I don't know what it is. Ladies and gentlemen of YouTube, greetings. It's been about a year with many trials and tribulations over the course of that year since my last video. Over the last year, there have been many failures with the old Jeep and many other shenanigans. So stay tuned to hear about some of those, or not, depending on what you like. So normally in this part of the video I'd show some cool footage or, B-roll footage from a trip that I'd gone on recently or something of that sort, but I don't have any of that because I haven't gone on any trips recently, unfortunately. So here we've got some video from the Mount Graham exploration trip I did with Off-Road Passport a few years back, just to background the video while I talk about some of the things that have happened. So I had a couple of failures with the Jeep, more than a couple I should say. So let's go down the list. I had to replace my PCM, I had to replace my motor mounts, CPS, map sensor, my injectors, my spark plugs, my let's see, what is that? It's the throttle position sensor, the TPS. Ironically, out of all this, the IAC, the idle air control, is the only thing I didn't really have to mess with. All of this, while, and the part that's unbeknownst to you, the watcher, is that I actually was let go of my job, not because I have performance or anything, but the store actually closed. Which, a lot of people are like, oh, that sucks, but actually that's the best part of the year. I'm now working at a local shop where I work full-time, and, I'm really liking it there. But it's like they say, you have to go through the bad stuff to get to the good stuff. And since that last video, I also went through another rear drive shaft, so there's that on the tack on the list too. But right after that last video, we lost one of our dogs, and then just in January here we lost the other dog, so that was kind of sad. I mean, that's kind of the circle of life and all, but basically working at my last job the last few weeks was basically just destroying things, getting things into dumpsters, and clearing the building out. I was just too tired coming home from work to do anything with YouTube, aside from watching things on YouTube, of course. So that's kind of all it came down to. And then I did actually do a run with the Bullet 4-wheelers out here. We did a trail called Walnut Canyon out in Golden Valley, Arizona, and I did actually trace that route. It's now available on Overland Bound and All Trails, and I did try to take video of that one. I was feeling pretty positive about that one, and I was energized in making a video as right as the end had come with that job. So I was pretty excited to do that, but then my camera freaked out and wouldn't let me record video for whatever reason. So I took about 12 photos of that trip, and that was all of that. Unfortunately, I would have really liked to do video of that, but maybe sometime in the future I'll run it again, and maybe with an Overland Bound crew or something of that sort, and just for the sake of making a video of it, since it is kind of an unknown trail. So between the work which I was doing, which was like 60 to 80 hours a week, and the work I was doing on the Jeep, I just didn't have the energy to work on YouTube at all. The Jeep was very trying during this last year. The PCM, for example, as it turns out, my Jeep, for whatever reason, has a derivative PCM that was actually primarily used in WGs, the European Grand Cherokee. So I actually had to get a Mopar replacement for that, which there was only one in the country at the time. So that was a very lovely $800 down the drain, plus labor. So yeah, that was not fun. Uh, Other than that, it's all basic 1-2 things. And then not too long ago, I replaced a radiator as well, and bumped up to the one of the all aluminum radiators you find on eBay a lot of times, because that had started to leak. That's something that's pretty common with the Grand Cherokees. So we'll see how this new one does, since it doesn't have the plastic tanks on them. So there's that. So let's address the big question in the room is, will I be trying to get back into YouTube and making videos and all that good stuff? And the answer is yes. One of the really great things about my current job, the one that I'm working at now, is that they're very encouraging of the whole overlanding and camping and off-roading scenes. They think it's actually pretty darn cool, so that's a huge bonus. One of the other great things is I have a new camera here, and it's a true SLR camera, so I've got 2 lenses available to me. I have a telephoto lens and just the standard 30 to 50 millimeter lens, so I can do all sorts of neat things with that as far as video and pictures go. So that's pretty awesome. Now that I have a little bit more time and a lot more energy to do things, I'm also looking at possibly putting together my own run of the Mojave Road. But Michael, didn't you run that with Overland Bound last year? No, I did not. I did not have a chance to go on that one, although I did plan to. I actually blew out an alternator at the time, so there's something else to add to the list. Among other things, and I had some family down from far, far away, so I wanted to spend time with them. So it just didn't work out. It was one of those things. So I'd like to run the Mojave Road, given the fact that I haven't run it and I kind of live at its doorstep. I'd like to be a little bit more active in the communities that I'm a part of, being Overland Bound and Off-Road Passport especially. Lots of great people there. I've already met a lot of great people through both, but why stop there? So that's kind of where I'm at. I'm kind of at a point in my life where I've looked over everything and refined a lot of my processes and a lot of how I do things. A good example is my kitchen setup, which I had originally planned to show in a video, but I've completely reworked it. It's about half the size that it was. I had it in one of those really big totes, and I could feed an army with it. So I've scaled it down to something 1 or 2 person sized. So hopefully, coming forward in the future, maybe I'll do a video on the revised setup once I get a chance to use it a couple times, and we'll go from there. And I've got a whole lot of ideas for videos, and I'm really excited to put some of those into play with all the fancy new equipment I have to actually record videos. So that's kind of where we're at. It's kind of a moment. It's been a hurricane of weird things happening around here, and I'm hoping this isn't the eye of the hurricane. I'm hoping this is, things are finally calming down. The clouds are beginning to part and everything's hunky-dory again. So, yeah, that's kind of where we're at. It feels very, going into 2018, I feel very positive about what 2018 can be and where we're going to go and what we're going to do in 2018, especially after almost an entire year of just fixing things and having my nose to the grindstone. That's something else you can throw on the list, is I had to replace literally my entire AC system and my heater core. So, yeah, that was not fun either. I spent that weekend that Overland Bound ran the Mojave Road with my dashboard outside of the Jeep while I was replacing the HVAC system. So you can kind of guess how I felt about that. I'm glad it's over with, and I'm glad everything works now, but, I wish I wouldn't have had to go through that in the first place, but, it's one of those things. It's kind of how life rolls. You push, and it pushes back, so, You know, you just gotta kind of adapt to the situation and, you know, make the best of whatever you got. So hopefully in this coming year we'll be able to do some pretty awesome things and meet some pretty awesome people and go do some pretty awesome trails. With that, I hope to see you in 2018. Stay safe. Camp lots and have a great time. Cheers. Or peace, depending on where you come from.